Few nations in history have left as large an impact on the world stage as the Soviet Union. Spanning nearly 70 years, the story of the USSR is one of revolution, ambition, ideological conflict, and eventual collapse. Our story begins in the early 20th century. Russia, under the autocratic rule of Tsar Nicholas II, was plagued by poverty, inequality, and the devastating impact of World War I. In 1917, widespread discontent led to the Russian Revolution. Tsar Nicholas II was overthrown, and the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, seized power. With a vision of a classless society, the Bolsheviks promised a future free from exploitation. In 1922, they formed the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, the USSR. After Lenin's death in 1924, Joseph Stalin assumed control of the Soviet Union, marking a dramatic turn in its history. Stalin's rule was transformative, but brutal. Stalin implemented the five-year plans, aiming to rapidly industrialize and modernize the Soviet economy. However, this came at a high human cost. Millions perished in forced labor camps and state-imposed famines, particularly in Ukraine during the Holodomor. Stalin's Great Purge targeted anyone seen as a threat to his power. Intellectuals, military leaders, and ordinary citizens were imprisoned or executed. By the end of Stalin's reign, the Soviet Union was a superpower, but at the expense of millions of lives. In 1941, Hitler's Germany launched an invasion of the Soviet Union. Despite initial losses, the USSR's resistance was fierce. Under Stalin's leadership, the Soviet people endured unimaginable hardship. The Battle of Stalingrad marked a turning point. By 1945, the Soviet Union had defeated Nazi Germany and emerged from the war as a global superpower. After World War II, the world was divided between the capitalist West, led by the United States, and the communist East, led by the Soviet Union. This marked the beginning of the Cold War, a period of tension, espionage, and proxy wars that would define global politics for decades. The Soviet Union extended its influence through Eastern Europe, creating a bloc of socialist states under its control. It competed with the United States in an arms race, a space race, and countless ideological battles around the globe. After Stalin's death in 1953, Nikita Khrushchev rose to power, promising de-Stalinization in a more open society, but his attempts at reform were met with resistance and mixed results. The Cold War reached its most dangerous point in 1962 during the Cuban Missile Crisis. After Khrushchev, Leonid Brezhnev presided over a period of relative stability but stagnation. The Soviet economy slowed and corruption became widespread. In 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev became the leader of the Soviet Union. Recognizing the nation's struggles, he introduced policies of glasnost, or openness, and perestroika, economic restructuring. Gorbachev's reforms aimed to modernize the Soviet Union, but they unleashed forces he couldn't control. As Soviet republics began to demand independence, economic turmoil intensified. By 1991, the USSR had unraveled. On December 26, 1991, the Soviet Union was officially dissolved, ending an era and changing the global landscape forever. The Soviet Union's history remains a powerful testament to both the promise and peril of revolutionary change. Its rise, achievements, struggles, and ultimate fall continue to influence global politics and serve as a reminder of the complexities of power and ideology.